The silence in the apartment was heavy. It wasn't a peaceful quiet. It was the loud, pressing silence left behind when someone is gone for good. Every corner of the place we'd shared screamed his name. Mark. I was going through the motions, trying to pack his life into cardboard boxes. It felt like a betrayal. I ran a hand over the kitchen counter, smooth and cool under my palm. My eyes landed on them. His keys. The worn leather fob, the silver key to his beat-up Ford, the tiny bottle opener from that brewery we visited upstate. They were just sitting there, next to the salt shaker. I frowned. I could have sworn I'd put them away last week. I specifically remembered the feeling of dropping them into the memory box, the one on the top shelf of the bookcase, the clink they made against his old watch. Whatever. I shook my head. My brain hasn't exactly been firing on all cylinders lately. Grief does that to you, I guess. Makes you forgetful. I picked up the keys, the metal cold, and walked them back to the living room. I stretched on my toes, placed them carefully back in the box, and slid the lid on. That night, sleep wouldn't come. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, tracing the cracks in the plaster with my eyes. The city hummed outside, a distant lullaby that wasn't working. Then I heard it, a faint whistling, coming from the living room. My whole body went rigid. It was Mark's tune, the stupid, off-key little melody he'd whistle when he was tinkering with his bike or trying to figure out a crossword puzzle. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. I sat bolt upright, listening. The sound was gone. The apartment was quiet again, just the hum of the refrigerator and the thump of my own pulse in my ears. Don't be afraid. The thought slid into my head, smooth and gentle. It's just because you miss him. You're so tired, Amelia. You just need to rest. I squeezed my eyes shut, my hands coming up to grip my hair. The voice, it felt like mine, but warmer, calmer. Maybe it was right. I was exhausted. My mind was playing tricks on me. That had to be it. I lay back down, pulling the covers up to my chin like a child hiding from monsters. A few days passed in a blur of condolence calls and arguments with the insurance company. They kept asking the same questions, their voices dripping with suspicion I couldn't prove but could feel in my bones. I needed an escape, a reminder of a time before the screech of tires and the shattering of glass. I pulled out my phone, my thumb scrolling through years of photos. I stopped on one, us, on that camping trip in the Sierras. Mark was grinning, his arms slung around my shoulders, the sun making his eyes crinkle at the corners. It was a good day, one of our best. I smiled, a real smile for the first time in what felt like forever. Then I saw it, on the inside of his left wrist, peeking out from under his watchband. The dark ink of a tattoo. A small coiled dragon. What the hell? I leaned closer, pinching the screen to zoom in. It was sharp, clear, a detailed dragon, no bigger than a quarter. Mark didn't have a tattoo. He had secrets you didn't know about. The thought was clearer this time, more confident. He wasn't the perfect man you remember. Only I really understand you. No, I whispered to the empty room. No, he didn't. My hands were shaking. Panic clawed at my throat. This was wrong. All wrong. I frantically scrolled to the next picture in the album, taken maybe 5 minutes later. In it, he was holding up a burnt marshmallow on a stick, laughing. I zoomed in on his wrist. Nothing. Just skin. Smooth, bare skin. My breath hitched. I swiped back to the first picture. The dragon was there, smug and black. I swiped forward again. Gone. Back. There. Forward. Gone. My phone slipped from my sweaty fingers and clattered onto the floor. It was one thing to hear a whistle or misplace keys. It was another thing to have photographic proof that my world was broken, that reality itself was glitching. If a picture could change, a solid piece of evidence, then what about my memories? What about the accident? The police report said I lost control. I remembered a deer, a sudden swerve. But if my own phone was lying to me, was I lying to myself? The guilt I'd been trying to push down came roaring back, a tidal wave of self-doubt. Did I do something wrong? Was it my fault? "They're trying to confuse you, Amelia." The voice was firm now, a shield. "They want you to take the blame for everything. Don't trust what you see. Trust me." I needed an anchor, something real. I snatched the phone up, my fingers fumbling as I found the contact for Mark's mom. My thumb hovered over the call button. This was a bad idea. She blamed me. I knew she did, but I had to know. I pressed the button. She answered on the third ring. "Amelia?" Her voice was flat. "Hi, Carol," I said, trying to keep my own voice steady. I know this is a weird question. I'm sorry to bother you." "What is it?" I took a deep breath. Did he ever have a tattoo? A small one, maybe? On his wrist?" There was a pause on the other end of the line. For a second, I thought she'd hung up. Then she let out a short, dry laugh. "A tattoo? Heavens no, Amelia. Mark was terrified of needles. Couldn't even watch a nurse give a flu shot without turning pale. He never had a tattoo in his life." Relief washed over me, so potent it made me dizzy. It was just a glitch, a weird, technical, "She's lying." The voice in my head was cold as ice. "She hates you. She wants to erase every part of him that you didn't know, to make you feel like a stranger. She's part of it." I ended the call without saying goodbye. I just sat there in the growing darkness of the living room, the phone screen lighting up my face. Carol's words should have been comforting, the truth. But the other voice, Leo's voice, it made a different kind of sense. A terrible, perfect sense. Of course she would lie. Of course they were all against me. I looked at the two photos on my screen, the one with the dragon and the one without. My world had split into two paths, and I had to choose which one was real. Slowly, deliberately, I selected the photo of Mark's bare wrist. My thumb pressed down on the little trash can icon. Delete. A strange calm settled over me. I had made a choice. I stood up and walked to the bathroom, the tile cold beneath my bare feet. I turned on the tap, splashing cool water on my face. When I looked up, my reflection stared back. And on the glass, fogged over as if from a hot shower I hadn't taken, a message was written in the condensation. "You're safe with me." I blinked, and the letters dissolved, a wisp of vapor vanishing into the air. The mirror was clear again, but I knew what I had seen. My sister, bless her heart, wouldn't get off my case about it. "You need to talk to someone, Amelia, someone professional." So I went. I made the appointment, and I went, mostly just to shut her up. The office of Dr. Robert Evans felt like it was underwater. Thick carpet drank the sound of my footsteps, and the walls were a deep, calming blue that didn't calm me at all. He was an older man with kind eyes and a neat graying beard. He sat behind a large mahogany desk that seemed too big for the room. "So," he began, steepling his fingers, "tell me what's been on your mind." I started talking. I told him about the keys, the whistling, the impossible picture on my phone. With every word I spoke, I could feel the space between us growing. He just nodded, his expression never changing, and made notes in a leather-bound book. He wrote with a fountain pen, a heavy black one. It made these quiet scratching sounds on the paper. I watched that pen more than I watched him. I noticed it had a thin, silver scratch near the very tip, a little imperfection that made it unique. "He doesn't believe you." The voice was a low hum in the back of my skull. "Leo, he thinks you're broken. Look at the way he writes. He's not listening. He's diagnosing. He's putting you in a box." I swallowed. That's pretty much it." My voice sounded thin. Dr. Evans set the pen down. Amelia, it's not uncommon for the mind to create certain phenomena during periods of extreme stress and grief. It's a coping mechanism. I just nodded. There was no point in arguing. I already knew what he thought. The apartment felt different when I got back. Colder. I dropped my purse on the floor and went straight to the kitchen for a glass of water. My hand was shaking so much, I splashed some on the counter. As I wiped it up, I saw it, sitting right in the middle of my small coffee table. A heavy, black fountain pen. I walked toward it slowly, like it was a snake. The light from the window glinted off a thin, silver scratch near the tip. My breath caught in my throat. It couldn't be. It was impossible. I picked it up. The weight of it was real.